Hello, and welcome to our first session that we are calling Soul Exploration with my excellent soul sister, Carla and Amanda here. We're going to be leading you through a bit of a practice today. You can kind of see this as almost like showing up to your yoga class or to your soul work class. I'm always talking about inner work and really sitting down to do the work. Well, how do we do that, right? Carla is going to help me start to create some actual moments that you can use to check in with yourself, with your soul, do a little bit of soul work, a little bit of soul exploration, and really start to create some time for yourself to really kind of tap into who you are, which is our topic for today, and what it is that you want to do in the world and how you can just bring yourself more into alignment. And so you feel good, so you feel right and like you're thriving in this life. So we're going to see where the future topics take us. We've got some ideas going. We might make this live someday, but today we're just going to guide you through this video, taking you through a bit of a meditation to bring us here and now into the moment. And then Carla is going to introduce the topic, who am I? And then from there, that's where we're going to put this work into practice with a few journal questions. We'll give you some time to actually work through the questions, and we're going to do it too so that you can see what that can look like. And then we're going to wrap things up with some intentions for the future. Anything else you'd like to add, Carla, or have I covered it all?
I think you covered it all.
Okay, great. So we'll get into it then. We'll center ourselves. Carla's going to guide us into this space.
Yes. So I invite for you, Amanda, for me, and for those who might be watching, to really take a time to just be in this present moment. So what we can do is to just look around the room, and we can really use our whole bodies, our whole neck, and really just orient ourselves and scan like where are we right now, and we can check in how it feels in our bodies if something wants to soften as we look around. And at some point we can just soften our gaze and look at something in particular that makes us feel safe, that it's comfortable to look at. And as we do that, we can check in with our breath. Can try to deepen it and just observe. And if it feels safe, it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes, or you can still look at what you're looking, or just lower your gaze. And be really mindful of your breath. You can breathe in through the nose or the mouth, and just breathe out through the mouth. And now we can check in with our other senses. So I invite you to see is there a taste right now, and it can be funny, but stay here with us. Is there a taste that makes you feel or sense that you are here, right now? That makes you connect to this moment? And now you can check in and see what are the sounds. What are you hearing? Maybe there's just silence, but silence is also a sound. And as you do that, just check in with your body and see what can soften. Now, I invite you to scan your body, and you can focus your attention on your feet and check in. Are they really grounded? Can you feel the floor? And don't forget to breathe, and you can bring your awareness now to your legs. You sense your chair, what is supporting you right now. Now going up to your belly and your spine, your back. So what can soften? Is there some tension there? You can bring awareness to, and can you invite it to soften? Bringing your awareness up to your shoulders, your arms, your hands. We hold a lot of tension. I know for me, I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders. And feel free if, as you're breathing, if some sounds want to come out as you exhale. Feel free to just let it be. Let it be here. Let it be welcome. Moving your awareness up to your neck, your jaw, your face. So I'm noticing from me, I had tension in my jaw. Now I invite you to bring your awareness in whatever part of your body you feel is the most needed right now. And is there a part of your body that feels solid, that feels supportive. And that can be an anchor for you to come back whenever you feel like you're too much in the past or too much in the future. You feel you want to come back to your body or to the present moment, you can go back to that place or tune in into one of your senses. I know for me, I like to tune into sound. That's what really calms my whole system down. So feel free to explore and see what that is for yourself, and know that it's there whenever you need it, whenever you feel triggered. And trust that. Now, Amanda, I don't know how you're feeling, if you want to take over to set an intention.
So I'll invite you to visualize the sun or source above you, and to imagine a white light coming down through your head, washing down your neck, over your shoulders, going down your entire body, slowly clearing and connecting, going down your legs, through your feet, and into the earth below you. Seeing now your center, solar plexus chakra, opening, expanding your power, this yellow sun, bright energy, expanding outside of you and surrounding you in a circle, as if you were inside a sun. You're shining, glowing, energized, protected. And if it feels right to you, you can call in an intention now for this practice. We're going to be talking about who we are, so it can be to connect with who you really are, with your higher self. You can intend to call in support from your higher self or any guides you might work with. I invite my higher self to really be here with us today. And when that feels right, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes and start to come back to your environment. Open your eyes.
Wow.
Thank you, Carla. That was beautiful. I feel very present. So we're going to be going into our topic for today. Carla's going to talk a little bit about this.
Mhm.
Who am I? This question.
So yes, so for today, we would like to invite you and ourselves to consider our sense of self, right? So, I mean, we are so busy, doing all these things, and that seems so much more important that we often were told are more important, and we're told to prioritize, and at the expense of us really going within and just really exploring, giving importance to, who am I? What do I feel drawn to? What do I like? And so few of us get to be really in awe and in reverence when seeing our own soul, the own light of our own soul, communities that brings us. It opens up so many doors, and knowing who we are and appreciating who we are. And I think, so very few of us, I would say, we're encouraged to do so. A lot of us were never really given permission, were never really, again, encouraged, or even not allowed, for some of us even, to do that discovering, that exploring. And why this is so important is because at some point, it can get really discouraging for us to feel, I've gone, through trauma, or this is my past, that's who I am, and I kind of don't like myself. I don't feel good being who I am, and it can be easy to feel doomed, like, this is it, right? And of course, obviously, we are deeply influenced by our upbringing, deeply influenced by how we were raised, where we were raised, our, the relationships we've had, early childhood experience, and all those things do make us who we are, in a sense. But we tend to forget that we were born already with a personality, right? We were born already with a soul within us that gets to unfold. We are our own persons since day one, right? And we tend to forget that, and that's why it is so important to remember, because it's, and I just want to put that out there, that it is absolutely possible to heal from our traumas, to transcend our traumas, to transcend our conditions and our circumstances. We are so much more than our external circumstances. And yes, so that's a really important part. And we could, there's so much to talk about, but what we would like to really get into for today, more the sense of, going through life in every area of your life, be it at work, social, private, whatever, wrapped up with this sense of anxiety, because we don't have a sense of self. Like, and, we don't know what's wrong for us, what's right for us, what we really like, what we don't dislike. We don't know what our boundaries are. We don't know what boundaries are good for us, what because we never had really a foundation to really cement them on, and to really kind of, that would make sense. So much, can cause so much anxiety to really know, like, oh my God, I don't know who I am. And that is really so unsettling. So that's where I would like to open up this discussion with you, Amanda. Have you ever had this sense of, oh my God, I don't know who I am?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when while you were speaking. I'm just like, this is my entire project on YouTube, like when I really started to sit down and say, I'm going to start taking time for myself, and doing something that nobody else is telling me I should do or asking me to do, but I feel like I need to take some time for me. And I didn't really know what that meant. but I was trying to follow my heart. And for me, that expressed itself through like video creation to remember who I am. But that like came through all kinds of tools as well, like starting to discover like different personality type systems, and so yeah, it led me on this whole discovery. What about you? How has that been unfolding for you?
Yeah, I love that you said, remembering who I am. I think that's so important because I mean my journey or how I used to think, uh, you know, I thought that all the answers were outside of myself. And the great irony is, when we do this work about, it's just knowing who we are, or transcending, maybe habits we don't like about ourselves, or experiences that impacted us in a deeply way. It's more about remembering who we are than it is about changing who we are.
Yes,
And
yes.
like, and I was so I was not aware that I had the answers for myself. Like, I literally didn't know. Wasn't I thought, as a kid, I was so attached to, that I really thought there's one way to live life.
Mm.
And I was so, would turn to adults, like, can you tell me, what am I supposed to do? Can you tell me what I'm good at? Should I do this? Should I do that? How, and I was so focused on um, external information. And that led for me to, to just be in such a vulnerable place, because external validation, external information, external opinions they were so important.
Mm.
And they were more important, than I was, or than what my soul my heart was calling me to do. And um and that just led for me to be so way too attached to people, way too attached. That's when it's so easy to slip into people pleasing, into doing things that I didn't want to do in the first place. and and so, yes, I agree that this all these tools are so important,
Mm-hmm.
just the awareness that that the answer are within yourself. Like, no one, you're the one that knows. And
Yeah.
no one can, no one can know for you. But then I was, I want to, at some point, people tell me, you should choose for yourself. But I was completely under-equipped on how to know.
Yes.
Extremely under. I had no sense of self. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes, that led for me to feel this anxiety, to feel I would choose, but I choose wrong. Because I had no idea how. I had no foundation. I didn't know how to build this foundation for me. I didn't know where to look, how to, so yeah. Oh my God.
We're building from scratch and like reconnecting to like, who am I? What do I actually want and need? And what are my values? I know we talked a little bit about that. And that's something that like I've done, like a universal values test by like Schwartz. I had done it in the beginning of this time that I was giving for myself to reconnect with like remembering who I was. But I forgot because it's been so long and because there's so much like conditioning to remove and like deprogram ourselves. I i redid this test again recently with somebody. They invited me to do it again and I was like, oh, I had done this test 3 years ago and I already forgot my values again, so it takes time too to like really anchor in and remember, because if you've been alive for like over 20 or 30 years, it takes time. It does take time as well to also remember
It does
and
take
really
time.
anchor it into your
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does take, I'd say, it does take, practice, I would even say.
Yes.
What
Yeah.
I was always told, like, oh, you'll know,
Yeah.
you'll know. but um, I didn't know,
Yeah.
or I didn't know how to know. So,
Yeah.
so I'm so glad you talked about values, because that's also what we want to go into today. As I got into this journey uh, of discovering, remembering, healing, building, who I am, what I want for myself, I was taught, that the first thing, that one of the first steps you can take is to really reconnect. What are your values?
Mm.
And so values, what are values to begin with? What the fuck?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
basically,
That
our
was
values,
my question. Yeah.
what the fuck is
Yeah.
so I'm swearing. Oh my
No,
God.
it's okay.
Sorry.
That's very much.
Yeah, so values are basically, it's what is important to you.
Mm.
It's everyone has it. Everyone, it's forms part of, it's an inherent part of our psyche, of our brains, of our personalities, and it's you know it just influences our thoughts, our actions, our reactions. It determines our preferences, our relationships. We also, it includes the beliefs we hold about ourselves, about others, about the world.
Mm.
And so, I was told, the most fulfilled people are those who live their values and purpose every day.
Mm.
That's what it takes to live a happy life. And yeah, so because, so many of us, we're so, at some point, we're so fed up with life, with our life, with what we're doing. We're so disillusioned. We don't have energy. It was like, oh, is this what life is all about? Like, what am I doing wrong? I did everything that I was told to do. I don't know what to do. Is this it?
Yeah.
Is this it? Right? And it's, unfulfillment comes from not living a life that is aligned with your values. Well, that's really it. So an example would be, going for something, having this goal, maybe a project, right? That really, and you have to invest a lot in to do. And but then when you get there, when you finally get there, there is no sense. You don't feel happy. You don't feel, there's like, where's this excitement, this fulfillment, this happiness that everyone tells me that I should feel.
Mm.
And that comes because that wasn't our goal to begin with.
Like I really needed to hear this today, actually, because this is like summing up so much of what I've been really coming into realization for myself through this recent transition period that I've been going through in leaving a job, where I realize now, as I said, I was invited to do this values test again. I was in a situation where I was completely out of alignment with a lot of my values, because I was in a very like traditional institution, and here I am like trying to bring in new ideas because one of my values is what's the word that they used in that test? I don't know, but like change and
Like
you know, new ideas and the opposite of very traditional anyway. And so I was feeling more and more and more drained for like as these 3 years went on, and at the end I just couldn't take it anymore, and I was trying to make it work, and it's just like I'm out of alignment here, something is wrong, and that's just like one piece, but I think it's a great example of when we're living in a situation that isn't in alignment with our values, it just doesn't work. It just
it doesn't work. It doesn't.
doesn't. You will not feel good. Like you'll have less and less energy, and now that I'm out of there, I'm already feeling so much more energized. My partner sees it too. He's like, I didn't even recognize you at the end, like something was wrong. And I'm like, I know, and I've been telling you that, I just couldn't figure it out. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, when there's conflict, or
Yeah.
there's misalignment, when there's not a congruence between our values and our life, that's the main cause for distress. It's the main cause for depression, or to inner conflict. It's that's so that's a beautiful way to start.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, what I feel, because it was for me, that's just my experience, but I feel so strongly about this because I really didn't know.
Yeah.
I really had to remember. Like I never took the time. And then this, and it's just not, I would say, I mean, it's changing. We talked about this. It's
Yeah.
changing. Oh God, but it was just, it wasn't encouraged to do. It
Mm.
just was encouraged. You do what's, I don't know, but I felt, we felt the sense of guilt. So even taking time,
Mm.
there's,
Mm.
because all this, other thing we should do and have to do, and taking time. I was told, what I was told, that it's a luxury
Yeah.
to do that. And I guess I get that, but in the same time, it's like I didn't like the fact that I was shamed guilt trip for for doing this inquiry, or maybe doubting
Oh,
what was said to me.
yeah.
um and I think that a lot of teachers, a lot of because it was a teacher, that's why I'm telling. But I felt a lot of people, a lot of institutions, um really, they do that on a, on a, maybe on an unconscious level, but a lot of, that's what's done.
Mm.
Which I think it's deeply disempowering,
Mm.
very, very disempowering. So you know it feels like this act of rebellion, kind of, like I am taking time.
Yeah, and it's not a luxury, it's a priority, and I'm taking control over deciding what is a
Yeah.
priority for me, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it's been
and
for
it's a choice, right? And it's a choice. It should be, I don't know what's, it's nothing weird about that.
me.
uh, you know but I for sure was, not really encouraged by,
Oh,
the,
no,
yeah.
same. It's like I was starting to look into all of these things and do this work, and I didn't know anybody who was really doing that or talking about it anyway. And so here I am kind of putting it out there into the internet and everything. And I'm just like, luckily some other people who were doing this kind of work are starting to find me, and I was starting to find other people, and it just helps. It does help, because otherwise it is hard to, when you feel that shame and that guilt and you have this idea in your head that it's like a luxury, or who am I to like focus on this or do this kind of work, what does it actually do? um, when we're not encouraged, we're not told that like taking some time to remember who you are is a priority, we're not
Yeah.
told that. So it is rebellious to take that time, honestly.
And it doesn't make any sense to, because the more you shine, I mean, the happier you are, the more, yeah, I mean, hello, I think you are a blessing for so many people, for me for sure. But just the fact that you are, doing these videos, and that, how, I mean, how many times have I, I'm very grateful for all these people taking this time and making, shining their light and putting that out there. And it's just, it's for the greater good. There's nothing really, I don't know, there's nothing really selfish about it if we really think about it.
Yeah,
I
I love that, because it ripples out.
Yeah, it ripples out. It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. You do no good being miserable.
Mm.
And I mean, for me, I held tremendous guilt about that.
Mm.
So yeah.
I know the feeling, but here we are sitting down together right now, reclaiming this for ourselves and reconnecting to ourselves, and now hopefully inviting others and giving the chance to others to move past that guilt and like just sit down, take an hour, watch this video, and just take some time for themselves and put it into practice. Should we put it into practice?
Let's do this. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So we've thought of a couple of questions. So if you can think about this, or you can take a piece of paper and a pen and even jot down a few things that come to mind. We're going to give you a couple of questions to think about when it comes to this question of who am I? Do you want to explain or go into it?
So we're talking about values and how important it is to know, right? So, and sometimes, as we just said, it can be really difficult to just really know. And so we broke down questions that would kind of help us discern. So one question can be, when we talk about values, we talk about what is important to us and therefore what we are good at. So that would be the first question. And we can narrow it down to three things. So, and you have to find it. Everyone has it's like literally not possible to not be good at something. So let's do this, right? So what are, your three strengths? What are you really good at?
And I would say, because I feel like, 3 years ago, I would maybe not know what I'm good at. But if you really don't know what you're good at, or you don't feel like you're good at something, what do you like to do even is, I think, just a good indication to get you moving towards what you might be good at. If you like doing something, I feel like our education system kind of has this wrong sometimes. I feel like we feel like we have to force ourselves to do things because we have to do them. But if we do things that we like doing, those might be our strengths and what we might be able to do more easily and live more in flow with who we actually are.
I love that. That's a good option. Like if you're someone who, and I empathize a lot with that feeling. If it can be a trigger question, to be honest. Like I really I'm not good at,
yeah, it can be hard. Yeah.
if this question feels like that I'm not there yet, there's a beautiful option. It's a beautiful option to see like how, what do I like doing? Where do I feel in flow? And flow being this, it's the state of higher consciousness. It's the state of you can be doing something, and hours go by. You don't, it's, and you're unbothered by anything going on around you. You're just so, and it calms you down. Like for me, that's where I would feel the more at peace.
Yeah, and sorry, I forgot that was like our next question. What do you do to feel in flow? So we can just kind of put them together. But if you want to answer both questions, then let's start with strength. We're gonna actually put a timer on to give us some time to just actually do it. Actually do the soul exploration work. 2 minutes of just reflecting, writing it down, and then we're going to share our answers. And you can share yours in the comments if you want to. But yeah, we'll start with the strengths. And again, you can skip to this next question about what you like to do or what you feel in flow. But we'll start with the strengths, okay? So I'll put a timer on, 2 minutes. And really, don't worry about it too much, right? Whatever comes to mind first. Don't get too hung up about it. Just trust yourself. You can let your pen flow. See what comes out. All right, shall I put the timer on?
Yeah, should I put some music on, or should we?
Oh, yeah, can you? That'd be nice.
Just let me know if it's, the quality is good, because sometimes, where is it? Here. Some really chill music.
So what are your strengths? What are you good at? 2 minutes. Go. So how did it go?
I honestly, I felt, I don't know if you felt that way, but like at the beginning, I was like kind of stressed out. I was like, oh my God, what am I good at, right? But yeah, it did. I came up with some things.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I realized, and this is one thing that I actually wrote down because I realized this is a self-love practice, you know, self-worth. And
Yeah,
I'm like, that could also be part of that like trigger or like challenge with the question. It's like if you are so if you've been hating on yourself for a long time, like this can be hard, you know? So
yeah.
that's
I mean,
one
it
of
was
the
even hard for me for
yeah, like
it's
that's one of the things I ended up writing down because I'm like, I can write a list like this now. I don't know if I could 3 years ago, honestly, you know?
it's true.
Um, so, yeah, so I wrote down some things too. I let it flow. I've been doing like a lot of like gratitude, just like
Mm.
streaming and flowing. And so for me, I don't know, I ended up kind of writing a big list, but
Oh, I like that. I love that.
so you want to share what you wrote?
Yeah, I'll share like the three top. I think that's
Okay.
so. For me, the first thing I wrote down was listening. So
Oh my
I
God.
I'm
That's the
yeah.
first thing I wrote down too. That's so funny. Okay.
So that's what I'm good at. Um, writing and um nurturing. So I think I'm good at holding or creating a space where people feel safe with me.
Mm.
I really like that about myself.
I can agree with all of that. I haven't seen the writing yet though, so I can't say
Yeah.
yes, but maybe that's something I need to see actually.
I do feel confident about my writing. I do feel confident.
Yeah. Mm. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that. If I'm choosing the top three, well, I also wrote down listening first.
Mhm.
Well, I'll just share the first three that I wrote then. Listening, holding space, which is kind of like listening, but you know, I feel like there's more to that.
Mm.
Um, because yeah, anyway. And editing videos was the third one I wrote.
That is so like I'm so not good at that. I think that's so cool. So
Yeah, you
cool.
know, it's something that I think that I forget, you know, and that I don't like see the value in.
Mhm.
And that's something that I think is important about like noticing our strengths and working with them, using them, bringing them to the forefront, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody actually recently asked me because they saw my I'm going to share this because I think this is important actually. um, Somebody recently asked me to edit videos in exchange for something that actually I really wanted but I couldn't afford, and I
Mm.
didn't even have to ask them. They reached out to me and they asked me for my services, but and thankfully, but it's true that it's something that I could be putting forward as a service or something if I wanted to, you know. And so, but I'm not putting value in that strength. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just kind of a good reminder to tune into our strengths and like what we're good at. And
Mhm.
for me anyway, this actually leads into the next question. This was the third question, but I figure we can make it the second question. What do we like to do? Where do you feel in flow?
Yeah.
Um, I feel like it really ties in for me anyway.
Definitely does. And I just want to I think that that was just so great what you just shared. That's what I meant with, once we know and value
Yeah.
who we are, what we're good at,
Yeah.
doors open up for us. Like for you, that could be, a way to, you know, to provide for
Yeah.
yourself, services for others that might need that. And that can be like super cool for you. That can bring, something that you need and support for yourself and for your family. So I'm the same. Like I would like a few years ago, I would have never wrote down like, nurturing, because I have this wound that I was told a lot that, the emotional sensitivity, emotional intelligence wasn't really valued in my experience. And it's like, that's not something you would put on a list, like, what am I good at? So I didn't see the value in it either. And so I thought that I was weak. I thought that I had literally nothing to put forward to. So I was very devastated. I was really devastated, really, really sad, to just kind of over and over again be like, oh my God, I'm not good at anything. I'm really, like, genuinely, I'm not good at anything. And so thank you for, because it's not true.
Well, yeah, thank you for saying that, because that taps into one of my wounds as well in terms of listening and holding space. It's and like nurturing is a piece of that. It's all of this. I feel like it's a collective wound around care work and the lack of value that we put on care in the current like economic system, and like the current like work culture. And that is desperately lacking right now, and we're seeing it with everything that's going on with COVID, and but also with all of like the spiritual businesses coming into place, all of the um, these like care and well-being like industries that are booming because people need this, and it's been lacking. Yeah, and it's time to bring it forward and tap back into those gifts that we have,
Exactly.
those strengths that we have, and find them for ourselves again, because nobody told me at school that that was important, or I could do something with that, right?
Yeah. I feel, what I could reframe.
Mm,
I went to, I'm not good at anything, and I literally used to tell myself, like, I don't know what I'm doing here, like, in this world, and I don't belong here,
mm.
because and I reframed it into, I'm what the world needs.
Yes, yes, thank you. You know, I need to hear that too, and I bet that somebody watching till here in this video probably needs to hear that as well. You know.
Yes. We are, our gifts, like everybody. It's not just, me because I'm the way I am. Everybody,
Yeah.
whatever your gifts are, that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
What the world needs.
Yes. Yes. Ugh, and that's why it's so important to remember who we are and tap into those values, tap into those strengths, and bring them forward, because it is what is needed right now. You're here for a reason. If your heart is calling you to do something, there's a reason, you know? Mm.
Ah,
Okay, let's go to the next question, because it's part that goes like into being in flow. What do we like? Like, how can we keep tapping into who we really are and shining that forward into the world?
not underestimating it.
Yes.
Some people are like, oh, I like writing, whatever. You
Yeah.
you can literally, you can save lives with writing. Like, I'm not kidding here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm really not kidding. And you can do so many things. You can post it on Facebook. If and on your private page, you can write a book. You can do so many. We think, oh my God, there's, yeah, I like writing, but whatever. I'm not going to. We feel like there's so unattainable. There's so many things
Yeah.
you have to do.
Yeah.
And no,
I'm not going to be the next J.K. Rowling. It's like, you don't need to be. You know?
lives like this.
Yeah.
I am telling you.
Yeah.
I am telling you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Important question.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next question is, what do you like to do, and how do you feel in flow?
Yeah.
So 2 minutes thinking about that, going deeper, basically. I see it into the first one.
Mhm.
I'll put the timer on.
Music on.
2 minutes. So
How did you feel with this?
I felt pretty good about this one too, actually.
Yeah.
For me, like it ties into a lot of what came out in the first one, but I felt like I was getting like clarity on some things that I could be doing that I'm not necessarily doing.
For me, it was definitely easier.
Mm,
I think and I'm actually surprised that because I thought, I've been doing this, so it'd be easy. But the first question, I was struggling a little bit, and I felt, I think maybe still maybe a little sense, this sense of guilt, like, oh, don't be too, don't be bragging too much, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
So, and now it feels like, so it was easier, way
yeah,
easier.
yeah,
Um, but it shouldn't. So I think like the first question, it's that's a powerful question. As you said, like really a self-care, self-love
yeah.
question.
Yeah, and this one is like noticing your energy. Like when we talk about feeling in flow, it's like I like how you've been describing it, like how when you don't see the time passing by because you're just so into what you're doing. So I'll share a bit about what I wrote because it actually is perfect because before we started recording this call, we were in a heart-to-heart conversation, and we all of a sudden an hour had gone by. So I realized for me, and that's what I wrote down, that like what I like doing when I feel in flow is when I'm having a heart-to-heart conversation with somebody, like a real, like authentic, like deep and meaningful conversation. So I like doing that. I feel in flow when I'm doing that. I don't see the time going by because it feels like it's important, and I love it. I just love it. So there's that, like in one-on-one, but I also wrote down that I like sitting in circles. So I like doing that in a group with people as well. So this ties back, if I'm just kind of connecting some dots, and you can do this for yourself too, tying back into your strengths around, for me, like listening, holding space. I have those pieces, and then I have so I can see that in a circle situation, and I'm feeling that call to like hold some more expression circles and things like that, but I've been putting it off. But I'm feeling that call. So again, remembering who you are, feeling like what your heart is calling you to do, and actually like stepping into that. Or if you don't feel ready, training yourself, which is what I've been doing on the side, things like that. And then the last thing I wrote was editing videos. Again, that's something else that I think can be doing, and I don't see time go by. I can be like working on editing a video, and I get into the flow of it, and I like finding all the pieces. It's like a puzzle, and I love it. And so again, if we're taking all of this a step further into like purpose or vocation, and like what we can be doing if we feel like we want to do something that feels meaningful and in alignment with like who we really are and connected to our values, we can put all these pieces together and see, okay, I like editing videos, I like sitting in heart-to-heart conversations. Okay, I'm going to be making heart-to-heart videos or holding space like this with Carla, and seeing how I can bring these pieces together and creating something new for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What about you?
How are you explaining this? Because I feel like we're really breaking down, like, uh, because a lot of you find your purpose, find your what you want to do, and we don't have the tools to know how to even get there. And I feel like you just broke that down so good. So thank you. I love that. And for me, it's I named it connecting, but it's exactly what you are. It. I mean, we have Emma and I have heart-to-heart conversations every week, and I just told her that's it's keeping me sane, and it's keeping me so freaking happy. You can, like, and I have like and I know it's that. So what is it about? Because I feel it recharges me. Like I feel so fulfilled after having really conversations about topics that really, it's like what kind of topics, right? That's
Yeah.
also,
Oh
and
yeah.
also, yeah, this deep, like going deep, going raw, deep, and just heart to heart emotion, right? And existential even, like that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
I feel so happy, so recharged. That's like there's no drug that can replace what I feel. It's orgasmic, I'd say. Even I know that sounds
Feeling it right now as I'm listening to you say that.
it is orgasmic. I'm not kidding. And it's, and so I actually, connected, but also I wrote down talking. And why this is so important for me, it's because and just going back into, when we think that our past or our experiences, uh, you know, do what are what we are today, and it's not, not necessarily true. Like I used to be, yeah, I have some experiences that made me extremely shut down. I wouldn't talk, and I thought that I didn't like it, or I didn't feel safe, whatever. It's, but the bottom line is that I didn't used to talk. I wasn't in a place where I really could kind of, and actually, when I'm with you, but I'm with people that resonate, again, you find those people when you reconnect to that. I just like, oh my God, I'm talking all the time. Like I'm talking, I can't even stop myself, and it brings me joy. So I like talking. I like talking. I like being the center of attention when I talk. I like, you know, I like I like when people listen to me and not just being the listener. I like having this space for claiming my space when I talk. That's what I kind of mean by, being the center of attention. That sounds so like, oh God.
And I'm so glad you said that, like
But
that's okay. I
yeah,
love that you love that and claim it. Yes.
yeah. And so talking and let's say just a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Um, and also I would say maybe loving could be interesting. I wrote loving, but so I really I like I genuinely like caring for others in a whole, like I like, some people do, invest so much in, their businesses. I think that would be considered normal. But I take like the same amount of planning, investing, and like what can, into my personal relationships. And I like doing that.
Beautiful.
I like doing that. And again, like I chose this one because again, it would be, it's not for, wouldn't be really considered as important or like loving. Yeah. Wow.
And yet it's so
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
And yeah, and now I am in training to be a coach. So in taking those seriously, at first I have, my personal life is flourishing. My, the people that are impacted by me are really happy
Mm.
because I honor so much love,
Yeah.
in ways that people don't even sometimes like, oh wow, I never even thought about that.
Mm.
Wow. you know and it helped me um discover what I want to do on a career, on a purpose level.
Yeah. And what you'll
Yeah.
be great at, what I feel you would be amazing at. Yeah, totally. Hmm.
See, I like talking. I'm making all the space. I'm rambling.
And you're very easy to listen to, so I would say so.
Yeah.
And so this brings us to our last question, I think, around what makes you unique? What makes you, and even deeper than that, what is weird about you? Like, I feel like some of the things we've been kind of talking about already could be seen, or I think maybe you've had this experience too, where especially I really related to what you shared about like not speaking and like being like feeling muted, I would say. Um, and so for me, that like made me feel weird in some ways. Like there was something like I was feeling weird because of some of the things that I was interested in, or like, you know, so what is it about you that is unique,
Yeah.
or
Maybe,
weird?
maybe, you know, weird.
Yeah.
All those things. I would say, what do you feel embarrassed about? That,
Yeah,
that
yes. Okay.
that's what makes you you.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah, you know what? That's really good. And like our time is going over, so I was like, I don't know if I want to do this question, but I also feel like I'm uh, like avoiding this question because it's like harder because of the embarrassment. So we should totally do it, I think.
Oh,
So the question is, what makes you unique? What makes you weird? What are you embarrassed about? We're gonna do 2 minutes reflecting on that.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Whew, that went by fast. I don't even know if I have an answer. That was hard. That was hard for
Yeah.
me. How was it for you?
Mm. It was okay. It wasn't as hard. Like the first question was really the
Okay.
most. Yeah.
Well, maybe, and this is for me anyway, this is what's interesting about kind of taking this practice a step further by maybe doing it with somebody. For me anyway, I'm curious to see what comes out when I like express this to Carla, and maybe what bounces off for her, because this is like an area that I know that I'm kind of struggling with. So do you want to go first this time, and I'll go after since it was harder for me?
So I think one thing that makes it easier for me is because I kind of have accepted it.
Yeah.
But where I come from, meaning my family and experiences, I'd say that's something that was really weird or not really like, you know, valued was just my emotion, my sensitivity.
Yeah.
So my connection to emotion. And, you know, my sister would always, you know, tell me like, oh, it's not so deep. It's not that deep. Why do you all like, oh my God, like always having to go all existential on things.
Mm.
And at some point I was really insecure about that. And I would say that's, you know, maybe something weird about me or
Mm.
something that, you know, takes adjusting when one first meets me. That might be it. And um my connection to, or the importance I take to abstract stuff. I think my symbol, I look out for symbols, for meanings in everywhere, and I'm like really, yeah, when I write poetry, it has a really abstract quality to it. And again, for so long I tried to be more structured, or to be more, so people would understand me better. But so yeah, those are my three things. And that was it. Yeah. So yeah. So really, abstract.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. I like 100% know what you mean, and I feel like I could have written those things down. I was just like, wait, are you in my head right now? Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, and actually, that was one of the first things that I wrote too, was this existential kind of side, like tied into spirituality. Actually, the spirituality like was kind of the first thing that I wrote, and I love that you mentioned acceptance, because I think that's a big piece of it. When it comes to my spiritual side, I know that I'm having a hard time accepting that part of me. I feel like it's really weird, and I know that it's like a part that I need to put forth, and I try to, but I still haven't totally accepted that. So I love that you mentioned acceptance, because I think maybe 3 years ago I would have said the emotional side as well, but that's something that I've really worked on. So for me, it's like really a spiritual piece, but I also wrote like asking questions and things like that. Then I wrote goofy, because I don't know, like I feel like I say weird things sometimes. I like act weird, or like to sing weird songs, and I was like, what is that? And I tried to go a bit deeper with that, and the word that came out was like free spirited. And I guess that kind of is just like getting outside of norms and expectations, but I don't always let myself do that. I think a lot of people can feel that way. It's like I do that with the people I'm closest with, but that is me, and it's breaking through conformity, and it's important to bring forward, actually, because we're all kind of weird. We all have these pieces to ourselves. It's just we're hiding because it's seen as weird right now, maybe, but we got to push past that, right? And then the other reason at the end, I tried to push like to really see like what was underneath all of this, because again, this is kind of hard for me to admit, because it's hard to admit, I think, what we find weird about ourselves, because we think those things are weird, so we don't want to see them, I think, but and it really came out kind of last minute, but it's sexuality. It's like wanting to talk about sexuality. It's I feel like there's a piece there for me too that like I feel like is weird. I know like people think it's weird if I want to talk about that or post a YouTube video talking about that, like we did in our last one. But it feels like a piece of me somehow, that I shouldn't feel scared to bring forth if I'm feeling called to.
Wow. Thank you for saying the goofy part. I didn't even think about that, but that's so, I mean, it's hard enough to be goofy around just ourselves, right? Around other people. I mean, I had a lot of fear around that. I really thought at some point, I really thought I was I was kind of crazy. Like when you feel like it's funny now, but when you're in it, you really feel you have a doubt. You'd be like, I might be like, I really might, maybe I should check myself in, like that. Those are really scary thoughts that I at some point really, I was like, oh my God, this is, so I think that's why it's also so important, because to talk about it, and everyone has it, and it's not, it's weird, but it's not really weird, and it's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, exactly. And it totally depends on the context and like the environment that we're in. Like in my family, we're all weirdos, and we call ourselves weirdos, and like we act goofy, and we let it out, and we sing songs, and we laugh about farts, and like, I don't know, it's like, it's goofy, you know. And that's something that I've, in a way, I wanted my family to be different. There were some pieces that I've like felt were missing, but now that, you know, I've traveled more, I've seen other families, I see how serious it can be in some families. And so I don't express that goofy side. And now that I'm not living in the same country as my family anymore, and I miss it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me express that. Okay. Is there anything else that we want to kind of say? Maybe we should start wrapping it up.
Yes. I think I have rambled enough.
We can both keep talking, I think, when we're together. It's just, yeah.
No, I think I said it all.
Yeah, I think we've really like said a lot, right? Okay, so let's just kind of take a few breaths and kind of, because when we do this soul exploration work, like some of the things that we might have expressed here, it takes some time to integrate and for these things to sink in sometimes. It's a process. And maybe you'll discover some things about yourself. Like I, you know, circled some things that I'm like, I need to remember this, but I might forget, and it might come back up again like 3 years later, just like with that values test that I did, and I'm screwed up by taking a job that was out of alignment with my values. You know, we forget. It's a process. It's okay. It takes time for everything to sink and integrate. And when we're remembering who we are, when we're moving past all the, like a lifetime of conditioning, it takes time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay to feel fear. I think it's very normal.
Yeah.
I would just normalize that, you know, fear, it's coming up and doesn't mean that, you know, it's dangerous in itself. It's very normal to feel fear.
Yes.
Just to put that out there.
Yeah. I like that. Maybe we can just end with a few intentions. So for me, and this is how I typically feel after the end of a conversation with Carla, I would say, may the messages that came through from our hearts today really integrate, and that I'm able to carry them forward on my journey to help me continue to expand.
My intention would be also, you know, may all this wisdom, may I remember it, may it find its place in my being, and may I continue to release the guilt and the shame I feel around my gifts, around acknowledging them and being proud.
That's beautiful intention. I'm hooking on to that too. And one last one, I think, for those who have watched this video and spent this time with us, we hope that this has served you, that it has fed your soul, that you've gotten something out of it to carry forward on your own journey in remembering who you are, and in this soul exploration work that you're doing as well. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you so much, Carla, for doing this with me. I look forward to doing it again sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Oh, thank you. All right, so thank you, and we'll see you again soon.